Good evening and welcome to the Dockerty Cup Final for 2018. Proudly presented by Mitre Australia, it is Heidelberg United taking on the Bentleigh Greens. My name is Teo Pellizzeri, about to be joined by Nick Tolios, coach of Kingston City, as our expert on the broadcast tonight for what promises to be a memorable rematch of last year's epic that went all the way to penalties before Heidelberg ended up triumphant. Jack Edwards Reserve in Oakley is the location. Crowd is building for a 7:30 p.m. local kickoff, and teams are making their way out onto the ground for what promises to be a very interesting match. Both these two teams through to the FFA Cup round of 32, so I'm sure there will be interest all around the country as we see the Bentleigh Greens there, led by Jack Webster, and great to see some of their juniors walking out hand in hand with the senior players before this big cup final. Nick Tolios, welcome to the broadcast. We're really looking forward to this one.
No, we are. Good evening to everyone and watching it live stream. What a fantastic night for football as well. Ground's in great nick, and two of the top sides going head to head for the first trophy available to win this year.
And Heidelberg in the yellow, Bentleigh in the green, for those of you not familiar. And it does promise to be a fierce battle between the two teams. Heidelberg won the Community Shield at the start of the year 4-1, and then Bentleigh got them 1-0 in the only league meeting between the two teams recently. They are lined up.
Please be upstanding for the Australian
and we are going to have the national anthem as part of tonight's broadcast, so let's listen in. So the national anthem completes, and a good chance for us to go to the lineups for both teams tonight. Heidelberg United, the hero of last year's penalty shootout, and the man who essentially won them the game was their goalkeeper, Chris Theodoridis. Wearing number 2 tonight, Josh Wilkins. 3, Les Dumbalis. 6, Lewis Hall. 7, Ruben Way. 9, Adrian Zara. 13, Luke Biles. 14, Harry Noon. 16, Tom Cahill. 17, Stephen Pace. And 19, Sean Ellis. George Katsakis is coach. And on the bench, Christian Pavlidis, their number 2 goalkeeper. Andrew Kartanos, Harvey Reid, George Salakidis, and Attila Offley. And now we take a look at the Bentleigh Greens, who won in 2016. So they were denied back-to-back by Heidelberg last year, but they are going for 2 in 3. Ryan Scott, their goalkeeper. Jacob Alexander, Jack Webster, Brodie Taylor, Blake Thompson, Tyson Holmes, the captain. Ethan Gage, the Canadian import. James Exidius, Marko Jankovic, Matt Thurtell, and Velibor Mitrovic completing the starting 11. And Nathan Coe, Charlie Fry, Chris Lucas, Dimi Hatzimuratis, and James Kelly on the bench. The team coached by John Anastasiadis. Tonight's referee is Adam Bavka, assistants Isaac Trevis and Nicholas Pantelidis, and the fourth official is Michael Mammis. We see team photos taking place, and these nervous final stages, Nick, before the game kicks off. Who do you think's going to win and why?
Yeah, interesting question, Tayo. I know we had a quick chat before we went live on air, but look, it's a cup final. You look at the ground and the surface we got here, which we know the Bentleigh like to play and pass the ball and move it around well, but when you look at Heidelberg on the other hand, they know how to win. So for me, it's going to come down to the team's got a bit more experience when it counts, when to slow it down, when to. So, I think, unfortunately, I might see Heidelberg edging Bentleigh out, but again, it's a 50-50 to be fair.
The captains, Luke Biles for Heidelberg and Jack Webster for the Bentleigh Greens. We are live and interactive on Facebook tonight, so keep your comments coming through. Make sure you like, make sure you share. And Craig, right off the top, asks, will it be on YouTube? Yes, the match is also on the FFV YouTube channel, getting exactly the same feed as our Facebook audience. So make sure you open it up in YouTube if that is your preference. And you'll be able to watch on whatever device suits you. Theo says, go Burgers all the way. We've also got Stan saying, go Burgers. Plenty of people saying go Burgers. Peter as well. Jim getting excited. And great to have so many people watching in. Chris Gleason, who called the semi-final with you, Nick, he's got the burger emoji versus the salad emoji to indicate burgers versus greens. Andrew says Bentleigh 6-0, so there is some support for Bentleigh. And we're looking forward to reading out your comments through the course of the night.
Oh, it's great to see one thing as well the camera just picked up. Good to see Harry Noon back playing at this level after a horrific injury he had a couple of months ago. A lot of people thought he wouldn't get back, and he got back on the weekend and did well. And then to see him playing in the cup final again this year, it's fantastic. Credit to him and getting himself up and about and ready for this later end of the season.
Of course, for those of you not familiar, he got impaled by a corner flag. I was there that night when the game had to be abandoned, but a remarkable recovery, and perhaps most fortunate not to be seriously injured, but great to have him not just back but playing well in the space of a couple of months. It's going to be Bentleigh to kick off. Matt Thurtell is over the ball. The Greens attacking your right of screen, and Heidelberg to the left of your screens. It's the Dockerty Cup final for 2018. Will Heidelberg go back-to-back, or will Bentleigh avenge last year's defeat and make it 2 out of 3? Early ball and an early touch for the goalkeeper and Chris Theodoridis. He was the hero of last year's penalty shootout, Nick, with that very interesting time-wasting tactic where he psyched out Dimi Hatzimaradis running up and booting the ball away, something that I'd never seen in a penalty shootout or even a regular penalty before. I mean, it went viral. It's one of the more unique things I'd ever seen, and it happened in a Dockerty Cup final.
And it worked. So, look, I know Chrissy got a lot of flack from a lot of supporters that didn't find it Heidelberg that night, but he's got the mentality, and that's what Heidelberg give you. They've got a will and find a way to always win, and sometimes it might not be pretty.
Holmes through the right side. In addition to Facebook comments, hashtag Dockerty Cup on Twitter. Ball currently at the feet of Blake Thompson. And as they haggle over the decision, it's going to be the first corner of the night coming just a minute in. Got a question from Mickey. Where's King Kenny? He's under contract at Melbourne Victory for 2 years. Of course, he scored in last year's Dockerty Cup final, Heidelberg's equaliser. But he's moved on to the A-League now. Heidelberg, of course, wishing him well, banking the points in the points cap. Here comes the corner, and it's an easy collect there for Theodoridis.
Interesting to see Heidelberg got everyone back behind the ball. Nice and early first corner. Didn't want to give up anything.
Of course, hello to all our viewers from across the ditch, Wellington Phoenix fans who will be checking out the Bentleigh Greens ahead of their FFA Cup tie in about a month. And of course, Heidelberg are facing the Charlestown City Blues in about 3 weeks. Would you say the Victorian teams are favourites for both those games, Nick, or maybe just Heidelberg?
Well, I think all the Victorian teams, we got lucky, we got home draws. So, you know, I'd be backing every Victorian team, and I'll be going for all the Victorian teams to get through. It'd be fantastic for us to keep showing that we are the strongest league in this competition outside the A-League. So hopefully they all can get the job done. But, you know, one for me is the most interesting is the derby with Avondale and Appian Leichhardt. So should be
some very tantalising games. Here comes the corner. It's well headed away. And a volley into traffic, blocked by Lewis Hall, denying his own teammate in Ellis. And now Exidius clears. Tyson Holmes battling away against Wilkins. And now a high clearance will get it away.
Marko Jankovic got up there very gingerly as well. Just keep an eye on that one.
And again called into action with another header. Hall back to Stephen Pace. Now Harry Noon can't control it, and it's cleared away. He just, it might have just jarred his neck or caught him a little bit off
he
there.
Just copped it. He was on the ground for a bit, so strong lad, he'll get up.
Great to have Sam Saraceno watching in from the Goulburn Valley, saying it looks like a good crowd for a Tuesday night. It's built up late, as we expected. It's, if you do come in late, you've got to walk a fair way to find a park here at Jack Edwards Reserve. So I was here hours ago, but it's certainly built up, and we were hoping for a good crowd tonight. Long ball is going to work its way down to Theodoridis. The pitch is in great condition as well, isn't it, Nick?
Oh, the pitch is fantastic, Taylor. We were lucky enough to play here on Friday night. Didn't obviously get the result we wanted, but look, Oakley have done well. They've been working on this ground for the last 2 years, and it's probably one of the nicest surfaces to play on, especially this time of the year.
Yankovic, just a little blind turn to try and keep it away from Ellis. Game's still very much settling in at the 4-minute mark. Scoreless at present. Has the pace of the game surprised you that both teams have come out perhaps a little bit tentative, or is the fixture pile-up starting to weigh on both of these outfits, given that most of them have midweek commitments with the cup ties and, of course, have FFA Cup to think about as well?
I think they're both trying to find their feet, and especially in a cup game where you know any mistake, you give an opposition an opportunity to punish you early on. I think both teams are just trying to ease into the game, make sure, don't give away any silly free kicks, don't give away any opportunities early. So, but teams will start to settle, and you can see Bentleigh already started to move the ball around now.
Out to the right. Good hustle from Thompson. Now played through to Holmes.
Oh, well done by Les Dumbalis there.
Hall helping out. Now Dumbalis driving it from left back. Yankovic again with a header. And now Ethan Gage, the Canadian. I'll get your thoughts on him at the next break in play as the ball breaks out to the left. Jacob Alexander, one of the new arrivals during the transfer window for Bentleigh. High ball, and Holmes was the target, but Heidelberg defence converged.
Again, Les Dumbalis had a good passage of play in the last two attempts of going forward there from Heidelberg, from Bentleigh, sorry.
Ruben Way gives up possession, and the hustle from Blake Thompson, enough to convince the assistant referee, Isaac Trevis, over on this near side, that all was well. But Gage, the number 12, he's a former Canadian youth international and played for the Vancouver Whitecaps in Major League Soccer. He got onto the books of Reading in England very briefly. And he's a player that you've seen firsthand, Nick, only new to the NPL, but already making an impact.
Look, he's come from Geelong in the State League in, I think it was Karaya there. But he's an honest worker, hard, good number 6, does his job, just covers the back four well, and very comfortable in the ball. You can see him, even under pressure, he's always had an outlet, not scared to retain it, and always makes good decisions going forward. So look, I think Johnny has done well there picking him up.
Johnny Black saying, watching my boy from Northern Ireland do big kicks, Lewis. I assume that's Lewis Hall he's talking about. Johnny Black's been a regular viewer of these streams, of course, played for Oakley. Refresh my memory, what was his other club?
Well, he was at St Kilda Celts.
He was at Malvern City for a little while. Of course, part of the Oakley team that made it to the FFA Cup round of 32, as we've got a man down, Webster and Cahill, two English lads that now count as Australians for football purposes, and safe to say there's no love lost between these two teams, and that's the first real reducer of the night.
Look, winning mentality. Both of them don't want to lower their colours, and that's what they're like. Oh, look, it was
just a
foul? A little bit late, nothing in it for me. Webster's a strong boy. He'll milk it for a bit, slow the game down a bit.
And he'll get his return one in, safe to say.
I'm sure he will. Centre halves always find a way to get the striker back if he gets him early. So, but he'll do it all on the ball. Nothing behind play. Webby's good like that. He'll make you honest and earn your touches.
Cahill, such a combative forward. And talking about Kenny Athew leaving for Melbourne Victory, his scoring record is Athew-esque. He's a different type of player. He's a real proper back-to-goal target man number 9, but he is scoring prolifically for Heidelberg, and he's one of the reasons that they're top of the NPL.
One thing I've seen with him, he's also looks like he's dropped a bit of weight too, to be fair. No disrespect to where I thought he was last year with Melbourne Knights, but his work rate for a 9, he's been very, very good, especially the position, the role he plays. He does take the best defenders each week. He's always getting knocked about, but his work ethic, and he gets in good areas. So, mate, again, Katz has done really well with a great signing there from getting him from Melbourne Knights.
Of course, prior to that, he was at Hume City and then Richmond as well, back when they were winning promotion into the NPL some 4 years ago. Prolific striker. Has been around Victorian football for a very long time. On the wing, Brody Taylor, dispossessed. And a foul on Ruben Way. Globetrotting Ruben Way, who's done exceptionally well to make it to Jack Edwards Reserve tonight.
Yeah, I think from all accounts he's been away, I think in Colombia on a holiday, mid-season holiday. So I think he's only recently got back. But look, he's one of the fittest guys in this league as well. I don't think he would have lost much fitness in 20 days, but not sure what he was doing up there. But good to see him back.
I imagine that leaving Melbourne midwinter would have been on the minds of more than a few of these NPL players. Of course, the weather tonight considerably milder than some of the nights we've had in the NPL in recent times. And you taking training at Kingston down at the Grange would have been icicles some of these nights in recent weeks.
The windy nights, yes, Teo. I can tell you it's been very cold. I was here a couple of weeks ago, I think, against it was Oakley Green Gully. That was probably one of the coldest nights on record, I reckon, for me, especially watching a game. So
coldest game I've ever done here was a game between Bentleigh and Oakley Cannons 2 years ago. Got down to 5 degrees, and you feel it in the crowd, no doubt about it.
We're surrounded by concrete.
Of course, got a bit of foot traffic starting to huddle up and keep us warm. I'm just glad it's not raining, otherwise everyone would want a piece of our tent. Here comes a high ball into the box and headed away comfortably enough. And now booming away. Jacob Alexander was the man who got the initial clearance. It's been another good transfer window signing. Johnny A rarely gets them wrong, and the ones that don't work out tend to leave very quickly compared to other clubs from the Bentleigh Greens. If a new face, we'll stay with play here, Ellis leaves it for Noon. Harry Noon is going to try his luck, but that was ambitious. If a player doesn't quite work out at the Bentleigh Greens, they tend to move on, whether they move sideways to another NPL Victoria club or back to their home state. It seems to be you either perform or you don't stick around. I
think it's pretty cutthroat at Bentleigh. If you're not performing, you're not getting opportunities, then you know very quickly that it's going to be very hard to get into that starting 11, especially or the 16 that Johnny A has. Look, he's got a certain way of how he plays, and he knows what he needs to bring in just to strengthen it. And again, we talked about it at the start of the year. he's had a number of changes this year, and they're still attacking and still doing the right thing, you know, up the pitch and up the ladder.
They're right in it in the league battle, and it's something that I actually thought they might finish around 5th or 6th this season, and instead they're probably the only team left that can challenge Heidelberg for the Premier's plate this year. No disrespect to Avondale in 3rd. But the gap's a pretty big one. Now here's a chance. The cutback is going to be turned in for an own goal. Stephen Pace unable to deal with Brodie Taylor's cross. And it's the opening goal in the final for the Bentleigh Greens. They go to Taylor and congratulate him, but it has to go down as an own goal.
Look, they did well. They got the overload on the right-hand side here, and Brodie did well. They won the ball out wide. He continued his run. I think Tyson slipped him in, and then it's a tough one there for defenders when Stephen Pace has got his goal, trying to stop the ball from getting cut back, and he just got a toe in, and yeah, unfortunate for Stephen Pace that he couldn't divert it away for a corner.
Defending that one, is that a breakdown of communication or just a errant technique?
It's just an errant technique there. His positioning was probably square. He should open his body up a little bit, but it happened very quickly, to be honest, and he's one of the most experienced centre-backs in this league, so it's unfortunate for him, but you know what, an early goal now means game on, so Heidelberg's got to come, so probably not a bad thing for the neutral.
Bentleigh in front then. An own goal in the 12th minute. And the veteran, Stephen Pace, couldn't ask for someone more experienced, but unfortunately there, turning it past his own keeper. Stan says, Nick Tolios, always a gentleman. Have a good call.
Oh, thanks, Stan.
And keep your comments coming. Give us your thoughts on how this one has started up. Good to see that the caginess of the first 2 or 3 minutes has been abandoned. And as you say, this is going to invite Heidelberg on here, and we're going to get a bit more attacking, perhaps, rather than a cagey cup final.
Well, we were just talking about before as well with Bentleigh and how they sustain this year in, year out, being a competitive side. But you look at Bentleigh's spine, Ryan Scott in goals, Webster, Tyson Home in the middle, and then Thurtell up front. Some good players you can work around and bring in some new, fresh faces, and that's always going to be a positive, and it's going to make it easier for the coach to cement his playing style with a new group.
Wilkins to Noon, the return pass, and a little bit of push and shove against the byline, but he can't make his ground.
Heidelberg have been in this position many a times, falling behind, and it's one team you can't write off. They always find a way, and they've got that winning mentality like we talked about earlier.
I remember watching them come from 2-0 down to beat Pascoe Vale 3-2 at CB Smith earlier in the season. Just a game that they looked like they weren't even at the races for, and all it took was one goal, and the belief started flowing through the team, and next thing you know, Tom Cahill's got a hat-trick, and they did come back to win at 3-2. So I've seen it firsthand, even in games that they looked like they weren't engaged with, and all of a sudden they were able to produce.
And they showed that last year with all the games they won, and the season they had. We all know about that.
Of course, Heidelberg winning the NPL National Championship. Ellis trying to get through challenges, and he's left the Bentleigh Greens defence in his wake. What a goal this would be if he'd have been able to turn it inside the post, and Cahill wanted it at the far stick as well.
Well, Shawnee Ellis, that's the danger that you have with this wee man. Look at him go. Beats 2 or 3 players, cuts himself in. Someone's gone down there, but you'd expect him to hit, at least test Scotty out.
That would have been a really fantastic goal. Not to be, but a warning to the Bentleigh Greens that Sean Ellis is on tonight.
He's a good player, Shawnee Ellis. One of the best left footers in this league.
Biles roaring the ball was his, and indeed rose to head it, but it's hit down the right by Blake Thompson. And now cleared into the fans. Richmond goalkeeper Sermon Sadakovsky is here.
And Brandon Barnes there.
Brandon Barnes, of course, leading scorer in the NPL. He's the only one to have passed 20 goals this year. And he's out injured, so he's essentially saying to the rest of the competition, come and catch me. I think the next closest is Davey Van Schip on 14. It's a real scrap in there at the moment. Zara, a little bit of a hand to the face, and now Harry Noon taking exception, and we've got a flashpoint right in front of our commentary position.
You got to love this. You want to interrupt?
I think we've got the effects microphone, and I'm just enjoying listening in here because we've got the two coaches right underneath us.
To be fair, there was nothing in it. It was
a stray hand.
It was a stray hand, but it wasn't anything with malice. I think he was just running. He's just trying to push him out of the way, and then, look, it's going to happen. One thing that Heidelberg do is they do know how to get in your face.
Well, quite literally there, Harry Noon. And George Katsakis, you heard him shouting, don't call 14, so didn't like that the fourth official, Michael Mammis, was taking exception to Harry Noon, who's on the ball right here, playing it to Dumbalis.
To be fair, he was nowhere even near in the build-up, so...
Ruben Way, and now Noon. Ball sits up for Zara, and now Cahill. Neat interplay. Ellis, and couldn't bring it onto his left foot, Holmes. The clearance is far from convincing, though. And now Alexander is able to hook it clear.
Good passage here by Heidelberg. The repeat. Attacks into the box there. Bentleigh did well to deal with it.
Pace. That pass anticipated and read by Ethan Gage.
That's what we said earlier. Ethan Gage does that role so well as a 6. Screens the back 4 really well.
Now ball over the top. Yankovic. You hear the Bronx cheers of the Heidelberg fans. Cahill thought it was a foul right in front of the Heidelberg bench and George Katsakis, which is only going to lead to
corner
more protestation. They do get a set piece out of it. That's a foul-ish.
Teo, surely not. He's a big lad. Tommy can hold his own. He went down a little bit early there for me. Too easy.
You see Michael Mammis there, the fourth official, who is field side of George Katsakis. They're just trying to get
him a busy night. He's going to have a busy night.
His area.
But you got to love the passion, though, Teo. This is what we love. This NPL brings every year.
Corner high to the far post. Yankovic, the last player that Heidelberg wanted to pick out. Ellis. He is a left footer. Let's see if he can find it. And he's fouled. Wins the set piece in a dangerous area.
Tell you what, Johnny A is going to have a look at that. He's beaten another couple of men there at the moment. Shawnee Ellis is on song and doesn't need a second opportunity. I can tell you that. This is dangerous now with his left foot whipping it in towards goal.
So many aerial threats in both teams here. Cahill, a fantastic header of the ball. And Stephen Pace has scored an NPL hat-trick of headers in a single game against the Dandenong Thunder a couple of years ago. Which one can Sean Ellis pick out, though? That's the question. In it comes. And it is Cahill, denied by Scott. A pile-up of bodies on the line, and somehow the ball would not go in.
Well, he's done extremely well, Scotty, there. You would have seen that later. I don't think Cahill got the ball as clean as he wanted, but Scotty did well just to palm it away from danger. He's got two attempts at it.
Well, the repeat effort was huge to bat it clear. Now a corner then. It's another high looping one, and this one has too much on it over the head of Cahill and out for a goal kick.
One thing that you notice that Bentleigh do match up well against Heidelberg. Heidelberg, one of the bigger, stronger teams in this competition, and looking at the guys marking, Bentleigh have done well there.
So almost at the 20-minute mark then. Dockerty Cup final living up to the billing so far. It's been a bit of spite in the game already. No bookings though. Referee lets the little hold go. Heidelberg fans voice their disapproval. Biles challenging Taylor. Thurtell. And now Mitrovic. We've barely called his name. Same for Matt Thurtell really, but it is the Bentleigh Greens in a 1-0 lead. And now Zara to Noon. Options on the left. Ruben Way leading the counter. And he'll cut in here, Way. Plays it to Zara. He's got Noon wide. Noon's cross. Too shallow. Blake Thompson boots it clear. Gage now. The battle for the ball continues, and Gage has done very well to clear.
He's done very well, and so does Matty Thurtell there to win the throwing out of nothing. I'll tell you what, one thing that Bentleigh is struggling to do is lock that ball in their forward half. Heidelberg being very strong at the moment, winning the ball back.
Exilius to take the throw. Dumbalis' header. Now Webster with the half volley.
Keep an eye on that battle tonight. Webster and Cahill, I think they're both getting fired up with each other at the moment.
And now Taylor might be in again. He's already led to one own goal tonight. On this occasion he wins a corner.
It's going to be an interesting battle all night. Webster and Cahill. Going to enjoy that one. There's another mid-season signing for Bentleigh. Brady Taylor coming across, I think, from Melbourne Knights. Scored a couple in the semi-final, I think, against Port Melbourne.
In comes the corner, and it's off the head of Taylor, that man, on cue. And it's going to slide out. But you were at that semi-final, and Bentleigh, Port Melbourne's form since then. I mean, they've beaten Avondale. They've beaten Bulleen Lions quite comfortably. I heard it could have been many more than 2-0. So, gee, as much as they totally laid an egg in that cup semi, they've actually been doing pretty well in the league as they push up to 5th place.
To be honest, I was at that game, and look, no, I'm not going to take any credit away from Bentleigh. They were very good that night. I think they made it very hard for Port Melbourne to get into any rhythm. They pressed them really well, and I just thought Port Melbourne did look a little bit flat. And I take the gauge you normally have. I'll let you get back into this.
As Mitrovic is going to cut onto his right side. Doesn't like the option central, so he lays it out to Holmes. Tyson Holmes now. Rolls it to Exilius. The fullback has come right up to support the attack. And Zara persisting, able to win it back for Heidelberg. Cahill. Way left it behind and got wiped out by Exilius, and he doesn't like the contact. And safe to say that if you put in a physical challenge against a Heidelberg opponent, you know about it once he bounces back up off the turf.
But he doesn't need to do it. For me, that's retaliation, though, Teo. He's now caused a bit of a scuffle. Yes, it was a free kick. Yes, he got him late. Referee can deal with it. Doesn't need to get up and swing at him and then trying to shirt bump him.
We'll have another look at it here.
Yes, clear free kick, could be yellow. And we lost it.
So trying to calm things down here, but isn't that the edge and the way that they play, just to try and almost convince the opponents not to take them on the next time?
No, it is something that they do like to get involved and make sure the referee knows that it's been his repeat offence. He's given away 2-3 free kicks. There's a way you can do it. That's probably not the best way to get into someone's face and keep pushing him. All James did, got up, stood still, and then he got pushed around. So you don't need that.
Dumbalis swinging it in, and Cahill's looping header will find its way out for a goal kick.
So back to the Port Melbourne, I think the biggest gauge that they had in that game is someone like Daniel Clark, where he didn't look right. His fitness looked like he was struggling a little bit, but the whole team would look a little bit flat. But you're playing against Bentleigh Greens and know how to move teams and work them into the ground. So.
Well, and in the previous round, I suppose it was your team, unfortunately, that were knocked out. I was there calling that night as Bentleigh advanced in round 7. to the FFA Cup, denying your Kingston team a spot in the national rounds and, of course, a spot in the Dockerty Cup semis. But again, it was a game where they knew how to just control the match once they took the lead.
Look, it was a weird goal we conceded in the first 3 minutes. Where
weird is an understatement.
Well, and that pretty much sums up where we're at this year. But look, they're a good side, and you give them a 1-0 head start.
Here's a chance through the right for Wilkins. Had to do a lot of work to control the ball. Now Noon driving it low, but straight to Mitrovic, and he picks out Stephen Pace. So Heidelberg will try to stay on the attack here, but there's some dogged work from Alexander to keep the ball wide.
And, yeah, like you said, they went 1-0 up. You know, really good on the ball, worked us around, but we had our opportunities as well. And I think at 2-0, I think we had a couple of good chances where we could have gotten something back.
Cahill in a tangle here with Gage, and it is going to be a Heidelberg corner. They've had a few.
I think it's their fourth corner now.
Of course, Port Melbourne, just to finish on them, will play against Apia Leichhardt. If it was a match that was in Sydney, you'd say Apia are a very warm favourite, but travel does funny things to teams in the FFA Cup. Pretty much only the Victorian ones tend to win on the road. Anyway, that's for the future. Here's Heidelberg's corner, attacking the near post. Scott has to climb over a big pack of players. It was his own teammate in the end. He rose above. And now Thurtell can potentially hold up the ball here. That's well worked by Dumbalis to strip it back off him.
Needed to do better. They're out of position here now.
Ellis, Pace has gone forward to join the attack. And, well, we talked up the surface, but a couple of slips at crucial times tonight, and it was Cahill on this occasion who went tumbling.
Look, it is a good surface. It's the one thing that you've got to be making sure that you've got is the correct footwear. And this does probably need to take mould.
Mitrovic is going to fancy his chances, and it was a good run from Exidius to play him through, but the finish was well wide.
Needed to test the keeper again. One thing you get in those areas, especially Vallerball, the player that he is, good quality player.
You've coached him. I mean, how would you assess his season with the Bentleigh Greens so far?
I think he's been one of the most important players that Johnny A has picked up this year, in the final third, that is. And he pops up. He's one of those players that can win you a game off his own boot. And, time and time again this year, he's pulled Bentleigh out of a position where you probably think they're not going to score, and then he finds a way to do something special, get on the score, and then they get into their rhythm, and then they end up running teams over the... Get back into this. No.
Zara to Holmes. And Holmes with a long ball. It might have caught out the defence here. Thurtell! Oh, Thurtell! No, it's over the bar. So close. So close. And they really got caught cold there, the Heidelberg defence.
Well, looking at the way Bentleigh are playing, they're looking for that. Thurtell's trying to play in between the two centre halves, because Bentleigh do like to bomb both fullbacks forward. And one thing that Bowles and Pace have got to be aware of, Thurtell has got some pace, and great ball in from Holmes out of nothing. He was pretty much clearing his line, but he did look up and see Thurtell, and you called it last year.
Ellis, how's the back heel? Cahill. Can Heidelberg hit back after coming so close to falling 2-0 down? Well, it was very nearly a repeat. He watched it over his shoulder, decided I'll have a crack at the volley, and gee, even on the replay you think it's going in, and then all of a sudden it doesn't.
Just carries over the top of the crossbar, but great effort by Thurtell.
So Bentleigh's attacking trio now really starting to come into the game, and that is a concern for Heidelberg, because as we saw with their recent defeat to Pascoe Vale,
it's done well.
Ball from Alexander is intercepted. But they beat Northcote at the weekend, but prior to that they lost to Pascoe Vale at home, and prior to that was a rather unconvincing 2-0 win in the semi-final against Northcote City. 2 penalties, both of them coming late in the night, and Heidelberg were actually very worried going into that semi-final due to the fixture pile-up, and indeed they got through the Northcote semi, but then it all ended up becoming a bit too much against Pascoe Vale come that next weekend. Well,
look, at the moment, Pascoe is probably the most informed team in this competition. Knocked off some big opponents, and they, credit to Vitali. He's done a fantastic job.
Taylor blocked out. Vitale Ferrante and Pascoe Vale. I mean, they won away at Lakeside. They have defeated Heidelberg at Olympic Village, and they've got Avondale in a couple of weeks. Third place is back on offer for them, I think.
Well, it is. And look, we've got them on the weekend, so it's going to be another tough task for us as well. But look, they're a solid outfit. They got Ian. We talked about it, the second highest goal scorer in the comp at the moment with Davey Van Schip. So look, they're always a very, very organised, very hard team to break down. So
We were talking about Jason Hicks earlier. He's joined us on the live stream. So, Jason, hello. Here's a ball to the edge of the box and cleared away. Of course, left during the window to go to Green Gully, having started the season quite well at the Bentleigh Greens. I was actually a bit shocked when he moved. But obviously Gully wanted him enough to compel Bentleigh to part company. And Ethan Gage, the Canadian who we've talked about, was his replacement. And certainly not a like-for-like replacement, position-wise. Got Cahill on the ball here for Heidelberg. Still fighting, trying to get back in this game. They've been behind since the 12th minute. Dumbalis, a high ball over the shoulder of Ellis, who will chase it down towards the touchline, and the assistant referee is flagging. It's going to be a free kick, and that's Nicholas Pantelidis over on the outer side. That's
one thing that if you're a Heidelberg, if you can get Valabor Mitrovic defending deep, he does tend to give away some silly free kicks, and didn't need to do anything there. He had his back to goal, he's going onto the touchline, and then he's put his team under some pressure now, especially this close to half-time.
Ellis has put in some tantalising crosses already. This one is again aggressive, and Yankovic does well to outmuscle Cahill. Zara nearly had his pocket picked, but he's going to control the ball and get wiped out. Free kick. And this is now shooting range for Sean Ellis.
Tell you what, I thought Adam was going to get a card out then, but Zara did really well. Didn't give it up. He's won his team a free kick in a good area. Yeah, a little bit clumsy there by Tyson.
Holmes able to stay on the scene without any risk of a booking. We're still yet to have a card through 31 minutes. And now Ellis, the direct shot. If you're Ryan Scott, what post do you guard? What do you invite him to shoot at here?
Well, one thing that Shawnee would probably do, look like going over the wall here for me. Scotty's going to be set up centrally, but one thing you can't do is anticipate which side he's going to go as a keeper.
It's Ellis. And it's too high. And in the end, he essentially put it central. Over it goes. Nick Van Egmond watching in says, go Burgers. And the Tatura Soccer Club says, great coverage. So thank you to the boys from Ibisland. Of course, it all started the Dockerty Cup back in January, in the last week of January, with the regional teams entering FFA Cup qualifying, which of course doubles as the Dockerty Cup. Think back to Mildura City, Nick. They were 3-0 up against the Yarra Jets and lost 4-3 up in Mildura.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine what the Yarra Jets bus would have been like?
On the way home.
Coming home on a 7-hour road trip after coming back from 3-0 down.
Mate, change your season. 3-0 down.
I don't know how they're going in the league this year. I don't know how Mildura City are going either, but it's hard to believe that that's what it started back with, though, months ago, back in the middle of summer. And here we are now in the middle of winter, seeing the last two teams standing to actually lift a trophy that is 110 years old.
Which is fantastic, though, Teo, how good. And we talked about it, I think, during the draw as well, with some of the teams that have won it in the past. And a lot of people wouldn't know some of the guys that have won it. Yeah, the names.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic, that 110-year-old trophy. And we've got two of the most informed teams, all sitting first and second at the moment.
It is interesting how it's played out like that, because some states, I mean, you look at New South Wales, Hakoah and Bonnyrigg, who made the FFA Cup, are sitting 8th and 9th respectively in the NPL, and yet Victoria, it's pretty much a reflection of the top dogs, with only one exception, and that's Northcote City. So I think it is perhaps reflective of Victoria prioritising the cup above all else. I know that the league is important, but every club is acutely aware of the gate of a night like tonight, of the live streaming, of the Fox Sports coverage, that if you get to that round of 32, there's John Anastasiadis, the coach, but they know the rewards on offer, and I don't know if the pennies dropped in some of the other states. You look at WA, they had a team outside their NPL qualify, and Armidale, who were sitting in about 7th spot. So for whatever reason, Victoria knows the value of the cup.
Well, look, it is important. You see Bentleigh now, they've drawn, was it Wellington Phoenix at home. So, again, another big crowd you think will come in. You've got Fox Sports there. Good coverage for Bentleigh as always, but they've earned that right. And I think the teams in Victoria, look, we were pushing, Teo, and I'm not going to lie to you, then we just fell a little bit short. And
with a friendlier draw, you could have got through.
Well,
I mean, you could have just as easily drawn, say, Northcote, Port Melbourne could have been a coin flip game as opposed to drawing the team that at the time was top of the league.
Top of the league, local derby for us as well, and we were coming through some heavy losses as well in the league too. So look,
I think that if Richmond had drawn anyone other than Bentleigh or Avondale, they would have made it. And they're in the third tier. Here's a cross. Cahill set himself, but Webster with a good header away.
Great defending. His positioning there was spot on. So well done to big Webster there.
Noon. Ruben Way is left-footed. He'll whip it in. It's a high looping cross. Wilkins into the hot spot, and it goes just wide. It was almost reminiscent of the first Belgian goal against Japan. Just a big, long looping header from
Vertonghen
wide in the penalty area, and that one nearly fell in.
He was unlucky there, but I think he was trying to square it there, Wilkes, and he was very unlucky. Tommy threw himself at it, but again, some signs there that Heidelberg are starting to get on top, getting those wide areas. They've got some big boys getting in the end of things, so Bentleigh just got to be aware of that. Can they stop those crosses from coming in? That's going to be important.
Now we've got a very special shout out to the Bentleigh Greens under-11s in Canberra who are playing in the Kanga Cup, and they're watching live on the YouTube channel. Thank you, Alexander, and to those Bentleigh Greens under-11s. We hope you're enjoying the coverage and enjoying the fact that your club is 1-0 up through 35 minutes. And I think it's cold here tonight, Nick. It would be
freezing in Canberra.
Absolutely freezing in Canberra. Stan wants a World Cup tip for semi-finals and your winner.
Oh, wow.
France, Belgium tonight?
Look, I've got I'm in a tipping comp at work, and it's heating up at the moment, and I've gone for France on penalties.
Okay.
I think that one's going to go to the wide, but
I want Belgium to win, but I've tipped France 2-1.
Well, there you go.
But I would prefer to see Belgium in the final.
Look, it'll be a fantastic, the teams that are left, I think it's going to be a fantastic semi-final, these two games that we got, but also I think final-wise, I think it's going to be fantastic. Could be Croatia and England. Unfortunately, won't. That's a tough one.
Is football coming home?
Look, to be honest,
I think England can do it. I think they can get through.
I think they can as well, but Croatia got some talent in that team. Not sure how the keeper's pulled up after that injury that he had and whether he's going to be available, but can you imagine the internet if England don't go through?
Well, I've been enjoying the internet already with all the football coming home memes. It's been one of the highlights of the Cup, to be honest. Makes me wish that NPL could go full meme, but I think we all take ourselves a bit seriously in this competition.
No, we do.
As Cahill does a lot of hard work to win the header. And now Yankovic. Back to Webster. Still plenty of time until the halftime break for Heidelberg to try and fight back into this game, and it really has been quite even in recent exchanges now.
It's interesting though, Bentleigh, they're playing a lot more direct than normal, Teo, to be fair. Whether it's a game plan that they've got, they know they can.
Exidius left a boot in on Noon. Play continues. Now Zara. Bentleigh defence resisting at present. Zara again rolls it back to Harry Noon. And that cross is not what he attempted, or not what he wanted to attempt.
Bentleigh are doing well. They're holding on at the moment, but they need to get back into their playing style. Is that retaining the ball? Playing a lot of direct balls, and tell you what, if it plays into their hands, into Biles, Dumbalis, Pacey, and Wilkins.
Webster directing traffic as he drives it long down the line. Thurtell's header. It's flexible defending there from Biles to hook it away, but it's coming back. Holmes. Slight challenge from Ruben Way. Every ball crucial here in these late stages of the first half as Way explodes down the wing and then slows up and then tried to beat his man with the cross alone, and Exidius did enough to deflect it. And now again Bentleigh able to clear their lines. It's a meaty header from Dumbalis.
Melbourne did well there. Saw the danger, picked it up early. Now he's on in the midfield.
And Tyson Holmes shouting at his own teammates for a misdirected pass there. That's you talk about the high standards at Bentleigh Greens. You miss a pass like that, you get absolutely baked by the captain.
Well, that's
or by the one of the leaders.
But that's what we're talking about, that spine through the middle. They expect a lot more. Johnny O, feeds that into his players, and you can see the guys, the leaders that they got on the park. Straight away, Tyson, he knows that they're chasing their tail at the moment, even though they're 1-0 up. But they're not retaining the ball.
We've got a great live audience going at the moment. Make sure you like, make sure you share, leave us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from, or what do you think of the game so far, because the numbers are looking good on a Tuesday night. Great to see.
Great turnout too, Tay. You can see that nearly both ends. Normally, the one end of the ground has got the crowd nearest to the clubhouse. Still some people there on the other side of the goals as well. So, obviously the people behind us. So it's a good turnout.
It is an excellent crowd. Only $10 tickets tonight, which is certainly good to try and entice people through the gates as well. Holmes. Now Mitrovic on the spin. Wants to send it wide, and the cross from Thompson is blocked away. It's just a solid unit is
Wilkins.
Blake Thompson.
He's had a great season, Josh Wilkins. Getting forward more this year, and his delivery into the box this year has been fantastic. Been in a couple of games where he's a few assists.
Sorry, Nick, as we see an attempted volley from Mitrovic and more acrobatics from Thurtell. All of it ends up over the line for a goal kick.
A new weapon they've got in their outfit there with a long throw there from Bentleigh.
It was Alexander.
Yeah.
Be a degree of irony if Alexander was to score tonight for the Greens.
Score the winner. Wow. Teo.
He is a left back though, so let's not put too high expectations on him.
No, he doesn't mind getting forward.
Way in a battle with Brodie Taylor. Referee just lets it all slide as Zara plays it to Dumbalis. Back to Zara. Harry Noon sets himself under the header. He won it down, but no one sharking the ball.
Did very, very well there. Set up nicely from there by Zara. This is where Bentleigh got to be smart now. This
Holmes.
He's going sideways instead of going forward.
Brings Thurtell into play. They're hitting up the left. Alexander getting forward. Deflected cross. And Stephen Pace deals with it at the near post. Second time of asking gets it away. Ellis. Another neat touch and tries to get the counter-attack flowing. Harry Noon back to Ellis. Heidelberger away here. And Ellis on the charge.
Zara coming in late now into the middle.
Way. Zara hits him up. And here is Adrian Zara.
Oh,
just wide. Crowd were following it all the way, but they couldn't will it into that top corner.
Did well, Heidelberg there. Very good break. Very patient, Shawnee Ellis. Playing it out to Ruben, then Zara, some quick feet outside the box. Again, you'd hope he tests the keeper as a minimum in those areas. When they get into those good positions, need to be testing the keeper.
Steve says he's watching from Hawaii, while Stan says the Burgers need to capitalise on this domination.
He's not wrong there. They have had the better of the last 20 minutes.
Ellis has been at the heart of it. And now some trickery as he tries to lead the Bentleigh Greens away. Loses all his opponents in the end, and a lucky bounce. How about this? He's got the ball on a string, Sean Ellis. And the pass is
ball as well. Well done, Shawnee Ellis.
Way, Cahill. Can he spin out of trouble though? He's surrounded by green shirts, and Webster hoofs it away. James says, why do both teams try walking in the ball? Well, we've believed that both teams have gone rather direct tonight.
I think they have. Every time they've had an opportunity outside the box. Maybe Heidelberg probably could have pulled the trigger a little bit earlier, but I think Valabor Mitrovic got in the best area for Bentleigh, and he's shanked his shot. So,
and James says, good game so far. I agree. This has got
great game.
A real sort of feel to it, like there could be more goals on the way. Of course, it's an own goal at the moment. Hardly a classic, but if the game ends up 1-0, I don't think Bentleigh will care. They'll want to lift the trophy any which way. Of course, 2 years ago, they went to extra time and then scored in just the 93rd minute. So it was Ryan Pachkovsky against Green Gully that year. If they were to win tonight, it would be 2 trophies in 3 years. And amazingly, we talked about the age of the Dockerty Cup trophy. Heidelberg only winning it for the very first time last season.
Correct. Got a chance to go back-to-back tonight.
some sarcastic applause from George Katsakis for the referee after this free kick that Les Dumbalis is about to drive forward.
You see, George has taken off his jacket. I think he's warmed up. It is a fresh night, but
that one's got a lot on it, too much. Ryan Scott doing well.
He's done well. He's had another outstanding season so far.
And he roosts it long here. Wilkins. Harry Noon. We're in the last minute of regulation before the break. Can Heidelberg find their equaliser? Can Bentleigh hold
well
out?
Done, Marco.
Yankovic with a good challenge.
Fantastic challenge, important there. Otherwise, they were through. Saw the danger nice and early, committed himself and made it stick.
Holmes. Driven away by Yankovic, only as far as Lewis Hall. Now Wilkins. And onto the head of Exidius. It's gone the wrong way off the head of Blake Thompson there.
Again, the clearances from Bentleigh just not finding any of their men.
Zara. Hall has been forced wide here. Dumbalis. 1 minute of additional time at the end of the first half. And now a chance here for Way. Blocked straight off the boot, but again they threaten. They've got to hurry here because they've only got 50 seconds until half-time.
Well, they've got the long throw as well. I think Les Dumbalis can get the ball in there.
And he'll get plenty of run-up here.
Well, Bosley's one-on-one. I think Zara will come back and cover. They sense the danger there. Well done.
Potential last attack of the first half.
Any big decisions here from Adam.
The long throw is going to deflect into the 6-yard box. A slip at the key moment from Ellis, though. He wasn't there to meet the ball. Zara bending it onto the chest of Exidius.
Well done, James. Bit of composure there in his clearance. Could have headed.
And now Thurtell trying to whip it over his shoulder and away, but it's only gone out. They'll have to hurry here. Heidelberg, they've gone backwards. And the referee with his whistle in the mouth sends the Bentleigh Greens to half-time in the lead. An own goal for Stephen Pace after 12 minutes, the only score so far. But it's a game that has threatened plenty more goals, and you feel as though the scoring isn't quite done just yet. Half-time, it's Heidelberg United 0, Bentleigh Greens 1 in the Dockerty Cup final. Nick Tolios, your half-time thoughts, please.
To be fair, I think Heidelberg's probably been the better side in that first half. Bentleigh started off well. First 15 minutes, I thought Bentleigh settled the quickest. They got him behind a couple of times, and obviously unfortunate for Stephen Pace scoring the own goal. But then from that goal, they've just sort of dropped off. They've sort of reverted to long balls and trying to go a bit more direct where it's probably not their playing style. And then Heidelberg's just been dominant, winning the ball, getting repeat offences. So for me, it's going to be an interesting second half because Heidelberg are going to come out and again, if Bentleigh need to quickly settle and get in the ball and try and keep it a little bit longer.
Well, we'll compose our thoughts during the halftime break. Josh says great coverage and great game so far. Josh, thank you very much, and thank you to everyone who's been following the game so far. We've got 45 minutes to go, potentially more if we can't find a winner before the end of 90 minutes. But as it stands, it's Bentleigh Greens 1, Heidelberg United 0, and thanks to Vidnet Productions, we'll be back with live commentary of the second half in about 10 to 12 minutes.
Patrons are politely reminded to please avoid getting onto the pitch at half-time. Patrons reminded, please avoid heading onto the pitch at half-time. Football Federation Victoria thanks you for your cooperation. Anthony, what do you think of the game in the first half? It's looking pretty good, looking very competitive, very physical. Who do you think is going to win, guys? Heidelberg? Okay, I won't take sides here. Good stuff. Now, tell us a bit more about Choose Tap. What's it all about? Choose Tap is an initiative to promote drinking Choose Tap. It's the healthy alternative. It's the official hydration sponsor for the Football Federation Victoria's 2018 season and hopefully more to come. Yeah. And it's all about promoting healthier lifestyle, healthier choices, all that sort of stuff. Absolutely, a healthier lifestyle. Tap water is the cheapest. It's the same. Spending all your money on drinking bottled water. It's better for the environment, so it's a really good initiative. We're very proud of the work we do. Fabulous. And just so people can go out and find out some more information about Choose Tap, where can they head to? You can go to choosetap.org.au if you're interested in having a look at our website, and there's more information on there as well. And other sponsorship opportunities. Good stuff, Anthony. So we've got ourselves a penalty competition here. We've got some eager participants. What's your name, mate? Lucas. And do you play for a team? Yeah, Oakley. You play for Oakley? How are you getting on this year? Good. Very eloquent, aren't we? What position do you play, mate? Centre half. Centre half. Are you a penalty taker? You're not? Well, no pressure, but there might be a few people watching. Good stuff. What's your name, big man? Dion. And who do you play for?
Oakley.
Oakley? What level?
Under 12.
Under 12s. How's your season going?
Good.
Whereabouts are you in the league?
I don't think we don't really have a table.
Don't have a table in your league, but you're doing all right? Are you a Real Madrid supporter? What do you think about Ronaldo?
I don't know. Yeah, he's got a big club. He's got a good team.
So Juventus? Well, you've got Luka Modric in the middle of your park, haven't you? So you'll be all right. All right then, gang. Let's get stuck into this, eh? All right, so just to give you an extra bit of incentive, guys, $100 Sportsmart voucher up for grabs. $100 Sportsmart voucher, just to add to the pressure. All right? So who's going first? Who are we having go first? Lucas. No pressure, my friend. No pressure. Here we go. Congratulations, mate. You're through. You're through to the next round nice and safely. What's your name? Harley. And who do you play for, Harley? Oakley. How are you getting on this year? Would you like to thank anybody in the crowd before you get going?
Yeah, stand on 50.
Very good. All right. Away you go, Harley. Right, here we go. Oh, geez, you're looking pretty sharp. Kit, what's your name? Stefan. Are you an Oakley player?
Yeah.
And what would you do with a $100 Sportsmart voucher? Buy an England top? Sure? Fair enough, mate. All the best. In he goes. These guys are making it look easy. All right. What's your name, buddy? Elias. You play for Oakley? Who do you play for?
I don't play.
You don't play? All right. So you might get scouted. Hey, coaches, keep an eye on this kid, huh? You might want to sign him up. Go on then, my man. Easy. Keepers, what age group are you? What age group are you? You're 11. So the under 12s, under 13s. Keep an eye on this kid. All right then, Dion. All on you, my friend. Oh, he's in the post! Dion! Mate! All right, top corner now. Top corner, buddy. Easy, he says. Oh, away you go.
So all in readiness then at the start of the second half of the 2018 Dockerty Cup final. Bentleigh Greens 1, leading Heidelberg United 0. And as Heidelberg gets set to kick off attacking the right of your screens in the second 45, their hopes of going back-to-back rely on scoring an equaliser at some point during this half. My name's Teo Pellizzeri. Joining me in commentary is Nick Tolios. We're live on FFE Facebook and YouTube. Nick, which way do you see the game going in the second half?
Look, if the first half has got anything to go by, I think Heidelberg looking a little bit stronger than Bentleigh at the moment. We talked about Bentleigh needing to settle, start getting into their routine, move the ball around, start tiring Heidelberg out because they've had a busy fixture schedule as well.
No subs for either team at half-time. Looking at the benches, Heidelberg, Christian Pavlidis, Andrew Katanos, Harvey Reid, George Salakidis and Attila Roffley. And for the Bentleigh Greens, Nathan Coe, Charlie Fry, Chris Lucas, Dimi Hatzimuratis and James Kelly. So Bentleigh have got quite an attacking bench. Charlie Fry is a centre back, as we see a high ball here for Ellis. And now Harry Noon. Boom, crash at the top of the penalty area. Zara blocked off the boot. I think we can expect plenty more physicality and Bentleigh players throwing their bodies in front of the ball. We're only 1 minute into the second half, and that's perhaps a preview of what's to come.
What's to come, exactly right. But again, great defending there by the two centre halves from Bentleigh. First, Jack Webster winning an important header, and then Marco throwing his body on the line. That's how important it is to this club. Both teams, players are going to put their bodies on the line. They know what's at stake here.
Thurtell's dragged down. We haven't had a yellow card in this game, which is pretty remarkable given the level of physicality, but Adam Bavka has managed it pretty well so far. Lots of comments still coming through. Artemios has just buried us in Greek text. Can you read Greek, Nick?
I can, but it's gone too quick and it's scrolled up.
I'll
bring it back.
I'll bring the comment back, though, because I'm no chance without Google Translate.
Forever.
So we'll read out some of your comments. Keep them coming. Like, share, let people know you're watching the Dockerty Cup final, proudly presented by MITRE in 2018. As this ball into the penalty area is going to sit up for Thurtell, but not before it went beyond the byline. All right, give me the crib notes.
He said, I support. I'm watching from. Yeah, I've got no chance, Taylor.
That's all right.
I've got no chance. I'm trying here.
Artemios, run it through Google Translate, and then we'll read it out for you on the coverage. It might be an FFE broadcast, but you're asking a bit too much of me to read that out in Greek.
He's watching it from Greece. But he said what village he's from, but I couldn't make it out. Sorry, Taylor.
That's all right. Annie says, hey, everyone. Hey, Annie. Michael says, Berger's dominating but can't score. We've also got Bo saying, have a go, Taylor. James saying, Heidelberg must start shooting from outside the box, winning corners, etc. Offley and Kartanos will come on at 60 minutes to change the game. And Nick says, good game. Go Burgers. Need a goal. Some good lead-up.
Well, if you look at the benches, you made a good point there. Katanos, Offley on the bench for Heidelberg. Definitely Katanos coming back from long-term injury. Did well on the weekend, getting on the score sheet I saw. And then Till Offley, it's not a bad weapon to get off the bench. He's got a lot of pace. Really hurt teams and he knows how to find the back of the net. So a couple of good options there for Katza. And then you look at Bentleigh Greens. Not a bad bench either. Lucas, James Kelly and Dimi Hatzimuratis. All players that can punish backlines but also get on the score sheet themselves. So be interesting to see.
Great to have Pararoos international Benny Roach watching in as part of our coverage tonight. And the Mauritians have joined us. Go Greens, we're proud of our Club M head coach Patrick Thompson, who is also Bentleigh Greens assistant coach. Great coverage. Thank you to Club M. They're rather dedicated viewers of our streams, I've noticed. And if there's even the slightest connection to Mauritius, they always point it out, which is great to see.
Nate should be supporting us as well. We've got Cooper Lingrand there at the club. Mauritius boy, international.
I think that's the stream they were watching, actually, the Round 7 FFA Cup tie. Nathan says, is Nathan Coe on the bench for Burgers? Yes, he is. He's their number 2 keeper. They bought him out of retirement and signed him not too long ago. He was the goalkeeping coach at the club. Here's Ellis, still playing as that inverted winger, left-footed on the right side. And he was so dangerous in that first half. Here's a long ball over the head of Cahill. Webster heads it away. Now Tyson Holmes. feeding it into the path of Exidius, and he's got raw pace here as he exploits the open field in front of him. And now he's slowed down, forced to go sideways, but Alexander is the supporting runner. It's Jacob Alexander. Has he got a right foot? It's a hopeful cross, cleared away. And now Harry Noon outmaneuvers Yankovic. Looked like a handball from Exidius. Heidelberg fans on the terraces behind us definitely had a bird's eye view. Play continues though in Berger's possession. Zara.
You got Lukey Bowles going forward here now.
The centre back rolls it to Lewis Hall. Heidelberg committing numbers up the pitch here, looking for that equaliser sooner rather than later. Last year's final, they also trailed to Hatzimaratis before the King. Kenny Athieu levelled it up at 1-1, and that's the way it would stay all the way until penalties. Pass here from Harry Noon, an errant one, and it forces Heidelberg to retreat into the defensive half.
Yeah, I think George is going to be looking at it because they had a chance there to break, and Bentleigh did really well to slow it down.
Mitrovic. Alexander. Heidelberg pressing Yankovic, but his pass has found an outlet, and it's a good one.
Now they're out again.
Exidius.
Ruben Weiss caught out of position. Looks like he's feeling that holiday.
Now Hall. Back to Theodoridis. Helen says, go Burgers, watching from Florina, Greece. Thank you, Helen, for tuning in. Of course, we're live on YouTube as well, so if you're watching on Facebook but you want to hook YouTube up to your TV, go to the FFV YouTube channel. Same coverage is there as well.
He's played advantage. Well done there by the ref. Could have blown easily for the free kick.
Wilkins, he's going to drive at Wilkins, and it was always rising up into the fans on the hill.
He looked up. He only saw that he had Shawnee Ellis in the box, and he reached the point of no return as a fullback. You lose it there, you're going to be chasing your tail, so he decided to pull the trigger. But supporters online did say they're going to be shooting from outside the box, but I don't think they were wanting to shoot from that distance, they tell you.
High degree of difficulty on that one.
Great ball there by Scotty.
Alexander able to hold off Sean Ellis. Pass comes unstuck though.
It's a good hard-working fullback, Alexander there.
Now Holmes. Mitrovic keeps it moving out to the right. Taylor's cross. And Thurtell attempting the flash header, but didn't really make meaningful contact.
Not a bad ball there by Brody Taylor. Beat the first man, which is always important, especially when you get in those areas. I thought Valabor could have been a little bit more adventurous. He played the ball out wide, but then he stayed on the edge of the box. He could have gotten himself on the end of things. He's a quite tall boy, not known for his heading, that's for sure.
Telling that Cahill was drawn into the defensive half there because it gave Bentleigh plenty of space just to ease it back to their goalkeeper, Ryan Scott. And now he is going direct. And a chance here for Thurtell at the byline, out for a corner.
Must be applied. Bentleigh are playing, we talked about it earlier, the direct ball over the top for Thurtell. He's worked hard tonight to get in those good pockets.
Is it purely the age of the centre-backs, Biles and Pace, and they're just trying to catch them out with that long ball?
100%. I think it's obviously their age doesn't play too much of a role. It's just their mobility is probably slowed down a little bit, but it's working for Bentleigh. The only thing is when they do get in those areas, they just don't have anyone getting in the box, just in case Thurtell does get a chance to get the ball in over the top. So
Blake Thompson's corner, and the header from Yankovic is cleared. Top of the area, pile-up of bodies. Mitrovic falling over his own teammate in the end. And now whipped back by Gage. The flick header on and turned high over the bar and out for a corner kick. No risks from Biles there.
Smart defending there by Biles, the captain. Knew the ball was going to hold up. Chrissy was coming. Thurtell's in behind him. Very important toe-in for me. This is good from Bentleigh now that they've got their chance to put some pressure on him.
I think they can sense that if they score a second, it's going to be a very tough mountain to climb here for Heidelberg in this second half.
Again, Heidelberg deciding to get everyone behind the ball.
This corner, just a tumbling one into the box, and it's been picked off by Harry Noon. He's only got Zara ahead of the ball, though. Bentleigh have got a few numbers back. Noon persisting. Now Zara's in, but he's late.
I tell you what, important there was Brodie Taylor. Saw the danger, kept with him.
Alexander couldn't get on the end of the move that he started.
Now this is where Heidelberg need to be positive. Need to get numbers forward.
Biles honours the run of Wilkins, and it's a lung-busting one from Wilkins.
No one in the box, though, Teo. Again, very slow to get forward.
Too quick for his teammates. Now he doubles back. And he's been denied. The assistant referee flagging as well. A foul will get the Bentleigh Greens out of any trouble.
Well played from both players there. Wilkins breaking forward, knew that he had no one in the box, had to slow it down. But not bad there by the number 10 from Bentleigh, tracking all the way back in his defensive half, and Johnny A. Would love to see the work rate there from Tyson Holmes, which we know he's got.
Wilkins gave away the free kick, wins it back at the fall. Yankovic, a few appeals for offside not heeded, and the ball goes crashing underneath the stand that we're filming from.
I think, like I said earlier, I think Ruben Way is struggling. Wouldn't be surprised if he comes off soon for Katanos.
Pace, his own goal, the only goal of the night so far. Noon, out of a sticky situation. Cahill's got space to work on the right. Webster right there with him. And the cross very early. Way made a late charge, but Scott always had that one in his control. Now Exidius, waiting for an option. You can see it's a really healthy crowd. Fans standing, lining the fence. All the Burgers fans are over the left shoulder of our cameramen as they see it. So if they score, you're going to hear an explosion of noise coming from behind us.
On their benches on that side too. I'm sure Katza will enjoy it if they can get something back.
There's a look at some of the fans that are in tonight. Plenty of familiar faces, and George Katsakis has gone and joined them. That is interesting. I might just ask the fourthie here, as soon as he finishes talking to the assistant coach.
Whether he was sent off or not.
Yeah. Michael. Mammoth. Was Katz sent off? Yes, we've had it. There we go. So there's some late breaking news. George Katsakis sent to the stands.
Wow.
There you go.
Must have said something at half time, because I don't think we picked up anything during the first 45 minutes, but it's not like Katza to get sent off.
There you go. There's some first-hand journalism for you right there. So George Katsakis sent to the stands here in the second half.
Not every day you can do that, ask the fourth official if someone's been sent off, Taya.
Yeah, if we were at AVD Stadium, we might have had to send a runner down to the opposite side of the pitch and we'd be waiting 5 minutes. But no, we've got an immediate answer here at Jack Edwards tonight.
You can see Bentleigh now starting to get on top. I think Heidelberg are tiring, to be fair. I don't think Ruben Way's right, Taya. Keep an eye on that one.
And it's going to be a Heidelberg throw. Getting a lot of ha-ha emojis after our first-hand investigation.
Oh, I thought it was interesting, something different.
Can you be sent off for something that you say to the referee as you're walking to the rooms at halftime?
Even after the game. Even after the game, they could make it hard for you and can report you. So you do need to be careful.
Well, they lose a lot losing him from the touchline.
Oh, 100%. His passion, his organisation. Look, but they've got some experience there. They've still got Jeff Holver there, but still not the same.
Wilkins. And booted away by Exidius.
Looks like we got a substitution as well.
Diving header from Dumbalis. Got it back into the attacking third. Bodies go sprawling. Way over his own teammate. And now Wilkins. Heidelberg have steadied once again. They go on the attack. Stephen Pace has got forward. Ellis is there. Can't wrestle in front of Yankovic though, and the foul is given.
Foul was there. One of those fouls that frustrates the player, but it was there.
So there's a live shot of George Katsakis in the terraces, watching on. Sent from the field. I'm sure the photographers will be all over it. We've got a smile for Peter here tonight. And he's actually right next to the Heidelberg bench, so I'm sure he's, like us, put 2 and 2 together and worked out that someone's missing. Got Con Deves from Neos Cosmos here as well.
Tell you what, big opportunity there. Tyson, all he had to do is hit Thurtell's feet and they were through.
And of course, he wanted us to mention this on air, the Smile for Peter beanies that he's been selling to raise money for muscular dystrophy. Fantastic initiative, and he's been shooting all and sundry around Victorian football, wearing those beanies, Nick Tolios. As we see a shout for handball here, not heated, but even your good self was caught wearing one.
No, I am. Look, Peter Saris does a fantastic job in the community with what he does with his photography in this game. He's always at a ground each weekend, and look, any way we can support one of our own, he's fantastic, and the cause that he's doing it for is another fantastic reason. So well done to him, and mate, he's a true gentleman of the sport.
What do we make of this substitution? Bentleigh act first. It's Velibor Mitrovic off, and the man who really has been one of the inspired signings of the NPL season and the Cup season as well, given his performances there, James Kelly, comes on.
To be honest, I think it's the physicality that Johnny A is probably worried about. The best outlet at the moment for Heidelberg is Wilkins on the right, and I think he's brought on James Kelly for that reason, just to try and slow his momentum going forward and also making it hard for him to get involved with his physical presence. So, smart move there by Johnny A.
Heidelberg, we've been flagging Andrew Kartanos' introduction since essentially kick-off for the second half.
So it looks Adrian Zara.
Well, that is another interesting change. Zara a bit proppy as he walks to the bench, though, so it might have been forced.
Might well be. So Kartanos will probably slot into what, a 10 roll. Ruben's still out wide, and then I think looks like Harry Noon's coming to that number 8 position.
So 61st and 62nd minutes for both teams to act and make the subs.
Replaced by number 23, Christian Pavlidis.
Volleyed on by Taylor. His cross led to the own goal. Stephen Pace was the man who turned it into his own net. Oh, we've had a flare set off here. Not what we want to see.
But it doesn't look like it's come in from it's come from outside the ground, to be fair.
And I'm sure
Teo, that's just, mate, to be honest,
not on. Yeah.
We're very lucky that didn't hit any of the players, to be fair.
So really not on. Costa Avramovsky and Blue Thunder Security will be all over this one, but well, you suspect that there's going to have to be some.
Well, Harry, of all players as well, Harry Noon. Can you be any unluckier than that? If that hit Harry Noon, can you imagine that?
So
no, that's just not Ron.
Hopefully there's some eyewitnesses outside the ground or someone with a camera phone. You see it there coming over the fence. Looks as though a car's driving past in the background.
Tell you what,
he's
he lucky is, boy.
Gee, well, whoever did that, I'm sure that someone will have seen the license plate or maybe even seen their face, and will let the appropriate authorities follow it up from there.
Yeah, mate, exactly right. Look at that. That is just dangerous, especially. Even the second one coming in too, almost hitting Adam Bafkart. Hopefully there's some cameras out on the road. I'm sure there's a lot of factories, a lot of work around here, and hopefully the authorities do the right thing and look at it.
You wonder if that break in concentration is going to maybe shift the momentum in the game. Of course, we've got smoke billowing across the ground at the moment. Just a bit of confusion.
Well, it looks like some commotion on the side, unless they were on if they were walking. Either way, you don't condone these kind of things. Yeah, like I said, Harry Noon, he'd be the most unluckiest person going around if they'd hit him.
Thankfully it didn't, and now with the smoke dispersed, we're ready to get the game back underway. There is Harry Noon, of course. We mentioned in the first half that horrendous injury he suffered where he slid through a corner flag and it impaled in his leg and actually opened it up. Thankfully didn't catch an artery, and he was able to return to training within 6 weeks and back on the field within about 8, but it could have been a hell of a lot worse. especially given the size of the gash that had opened up.
He's given a free kick. Tell you what, this is probably the only chance that I see Heidelberg getting back into the game. Bentleigh have done enough to break up their play and getting the ball forward, so they need to test him. They need to test him out here.
It is Ruben Way's free kick. Cahill with the header, but it's another ballooning up and under, and there's been a couple of those where maybe the timing of the run and the ball arriving just hasn't been quite on tonight.
I think even if that counted, I think linesman had his flag up nice and early there for an offside. So, again, just the timing, you're right. The timing's been off for Cahill. The delivery was fantastic there again. The other thing you see is Shawnee Ellis has gone very quiet.
It's a good shout. I wonder if they should consider flipping the wings, because he is still on the right side as the left footer that cuts in. Is it maybe time to get him over to a more natural position and give him a run over there?
Yeah, you've got Katanos who can play out wide on the right. You can slot him in a bit more centrally as well.
Katanos on hand here to challenge Webster, who's appealing for a throw-in, and the deflection means that he will win one. And now perhaps it does start to enter your thinking, Nick, that 1-0 could be enough for the Bentleigh Greens tonight, the way they're locking this game down.
Oh, I tell you what, with Heidelberg playing, I'd wait till the 95th minute before we make that call. Like I said, they find a way. They did a couple of weeks ago when they played Northcote. Well, I thought Northcote did really well that night too. They had a lot of good chances. They were their own worst enemy, especially the one that they cleared off the line.
Great to have the competitions manager of the FFA Cup and NPL, Mal Impiombaro, watching in from FFA HQ. There's George Katsakis with his arms folded up in the crowd. But Mal enjoying the coverage, and Mal, thank you. Fantastic job once again organising the FFA Cup this year. As we mentioned, it all started back in late January for the Victorian teams. More than 200 of them in qualifying and more than 700 around the country.
One of the nicest guys in football, Mel, ex-teammate of mine, Teo.
Which club?
At Carlton.
Carlton. Throw in.
We had some good times there. We were a lot younger, a lot fitter.
Now at the centre of defence, Wilkins will wheel out to the right. Drifting the ball in. Cahill up for the header. Pace went to ground, and Alexander gets it clear. Kelly.
Important ball. Well done, both players.
Biles won the header, but Exidius was there to follow up and send it into the crowd.
Both players had eyes for the ball, tacked it. Well done to both of them.
The crowd has actually been taken out of the game to an extent as well here. A lot of neutrals, a lot of Heidelberg fans. Bentleigh with a small but dedicated following. And at the moment, the Burgers fans haven't had a great deal to cheer, even to get angry about. Just something to re-engage them with this contest.
Like I said, I think Bentleigh's just started to frustrate them a bit.
Ooh, and right on cue, a tackle of frustration. And the fans over on the outer side get their chance to jockey the referee. Dumbalis, the offender.
I've seen cards given for tackles like that, but Adams set the precedent. He's letting things go. Good on him. Don't need any players getting sent off.
And now Jack Webster doing up his shoelaces enough to antagonise the Heidelberg players and fans alike. There's another potential sub in the offing.
I think Lucas might be coming on. It's going to make it hard. You wouldn't want to be Lukey Bowles or Stephen Pace seeing Lucas coming on.
Julie Webster saying Jack Webster's parents watching at home in Leeds. Great to have your company. Morning over in the UK. Of course, it's an exciting time to be English at the moment. We talked about the World Cup during the first half.
So we both gave our predictions, didn't we?
I'm hoping for England versus Belgium, but I think the final will be England versus France.
Substitution as well, I think. Thurtell might be coming off. He has worked extremely hard tonight. These are the opportunities now, like we talked about Heidelberg, whether Johnny wants to do it on this free kick.
And, well, the hand's up. Have they got the referee's attention? They are going to make the change before the free kick. So Matt Thurtell's night is over, and Chris Lucas is going to come on. He's got the blonde rinse through, so he looks rather different to what we normally see in the NPL. here in the 70th minute. 20-plus stoppage to go. A bit of pace to perhaps stretch Heidelberg on the counter-attack.
Substitution for Bentleigh is coming up, number 18, Matthew Thurman.
One thing with Christopher Lucas, for his height, he's extremely good in the air too, Teo.
So free kick for Heidelberg. Dumbalis.
And Lewis Hall there.
Skimming through the penalty area to no great danger. Kieran Dover's watching in, says Ryan Scott is a different gravy. And great to have former Bentleigh Greens media manager Yessa Jackson watching in, saying, missed this great coverage, go Bentleigh Greens.
He's moved to Sydney now, hasn't he?
Yes, he's up there with Optus Sport, having fun.
Was he the cause of the bad coverage for the World Cup?
He's working super hard, is Yessa, but I don't think he can cop it solely on the chin. Doesn't get paid enough, I don't think, to take responsibility.
No excuses, Teo. We know what he's like.
Sebastian says, great coverage, always look forward to it as for the World Cup. Belgium versus Croatia. That's what he's hoping for.
Wow. Either way, great finals, either way.
And Ruben from Altona Magic says, great call, guys. And we'll stay with play here because Taylor, who can make something happen, Holmes. Ball glued to his feet. Eventually it is out to Kelly on the right side. Is this Bentleigh's moment to put it to bed? The cross is straight onto the boot of Noon, and now returning potentially. Lucas couldn't control it, and the chance breaks up. And now over on the left.
Just looking at Heidelberg at the moment, their midfield line and their forward line spread quite a bit.
Ball.
So even if they do break, they're just too far behind.
Ball ricocheting and deflecting around. Another scrappy passage of play. Heidelberg trying to clean it all up. Now plays it to Ellis. Sends it high and long and rather directionless. Yankovic is underneath it. And the ball goes out. More comments coming through. Keep your comments coming. Jack Morgan says it's coming home. Of course, Jack refereed the Community Shield between these two teams. And back at the start of the year, Heidelberg had a big, strong win against the Bentleigh Greens to start the season, as we see a foul here. Blake Thompson, the man, wiped out. Let's have a look at the replay. Is that a card for Lewis Hall?
I'd say yes.
You can say yes.
I'd say yes.
It's all right. It's all right to say yes.
I don't think
He's pretty late there.
Yeah, look, he is late. I just don't think Adam wants to let this game get out of control. I think he might be giving him a card. I think he knows it was late.
The conversation continues. He's not reaching for his pocket. No booking. Interesting.
Oh, he's let him know that's his last one. So, alrighty, I think he's set the ground rules now. I think the next person to come away with a bad challenge, I think he's going to start booking them.
I think we've got former A-League Melbourne Victory player Stefan Negro watching in saying, I remember Stephen Pace playing against Juve for Victory. He always puts in a great shift at the office. He's
another fantastic kid, another ex-teammate of mine as well, Teo. But
Heidelberg are slowly but surely starting to run out of time here. And now they go on the attack once again. Cahill denied the ball by Ethan Gage.
You'd think Attila, this is a perfect time for him to try and come on and...
Of course, no cup ties in the Dockerty Cup, so even though Offley had played for Hume in the FFA Cup, he's allowed to play in the Dockerty for Heidelberg, but he won't be allowed to play against Charlestown or, in fact, in any of the FFA Cup games. Here's Kartanos, being chased and followed by Kelly, but he's trying to keep the ball at his feet.
Oh, he's done
and he's
well.
won it back here. Kartanos still going, wins the corner, persistent.
Well, I was just about to give James Kelly a bit of praise there, tracking back as a winger. And then he coughed it up at the worst time. But again, Marco and Webster in the right place at the right time. Again, Jack Webster's positioning has been A1.
They've had a lot of corners, a lot of free kicks around the area, and now they're going to mix it up and go short. Luke Biles is a left footer. In it comes Ellis across the face. And it's going to be chased down by Stephen Pace.
Another corner. Tell you what, free header there. Shawnee Ellis, you wouldn't expect him getting on the end of it, and you'd be surprised getting Lukey Biles whipping the ball in. It was a great delivery. Changed the angle, and then nobody picked up Shawnee Ellis there for a free header just outside the 6-yard box. So Should have done a lot better.
Ellis, who had that header, now gets to take the corner. Attacks the near post. Tumbling into the path of Webster, though. A rock at the centre of defence. And now Wilkins, not for the first time in this half, drives it high and wide. And Attila Offley is right in front of our commentary position, about to be subbed on. Question is, who's coming off? You've been flagging Ruben Way as one to watch, but he's not the man making way here. It's going to be Tom Cahill. Well, you be the coach, Nick. What's the change in strategy here?
I think just a bit of added pace up top. He might be pushing Attila as a 9, which he's played there for many times with Hume, but Tommy's worked himself into the ground maybe.
Had not been quite as prominent in this second half as the first, but well, you heard the surprise in my voice. I wasn't expecting his number to come up because he's just so good around goal, especially if you have set pieces.
Oh, exactly right, because he's been probably the most dangerous player going forward, but to be honest, it looks like they've also changed their formation. Katanos looks like he's playing with Attila Offley up top as a 2, and they've gone 4-man midfield now, so unless Attila's got a free roll.
Facebook audience is growing steadily, almost at 350 now. Like, share, comment, let people know that you're watching the Dockerty Cup final, proudly presented by Mitre in 2018. And we are getting closer and closer to this one being decided in 90 minutes, which, frankly, I wasn't expecting tonight. I couldn't pick a winner. I did think that extra time and penalties was a possibility.
Heidelberg got to be careful here. You don't want them to be leaving balls with Chrissy Lucas up top.
I guess
one-on-one.
Desperate times start to call for extra numbers in the penalty area. Now they've switched it, so it's Wilkins guarding Chris Lucas one-on-one.
Or was that Dumbalis?
Sorry,
No.
Dumbalis. Wilkins is over this corner. What's the delivery like? High to the far post. Noon squares it back, and it's headed away by Gage. Out
Another
for
corner.
yet another corner.
Tell you what, the pressure's building up now for Bentleigh. But again, they're defending well.
Quickly taken. Ellis ballooning up in the air. Scott calls it as his, and the goalkeeper comes down. And now let's see that pace on the counter-attack. Lucas can't miss him with the flash of blonde hair as he brings it down. Danger here for Heidelberg as he squares it. Beyond Brodie Taylor. No, he's managed to trap it, and now curving, but not bringing it back enough. And that was a great chance for Bentleigh to put this one to bed.
We talked about it, Taylor leaving Scotty Lucas, but I'll tell you what. Yeah, he should have done better. He had James Kelly on the side of him. Could have slipped it in, and then I thought, for me, bad decision. But Ryan Scott, the distribution to get Chrissy Lucas off on the quick counter was fantastic from the keeper. Well done to him.
Ball runs down to Theodoridis. Going to ask you another tricky question in a moment, Nick. As we wait here for the ball to be cleared away. More shouts for a foul not heeded. Now sent long. Offley trying to introduce himself with the spectacular. Not to be. We do have here tonight a member of Jimmy Mackay's family, the late Jimmy Mackay, the former Socceroo, to present the Mackay Medal for the best on ground. Who's it going to be? Who would you have as the clubhouse leader with just over 10 minutes to go?
Tell you what,
In a game decided by an own goal as things stand.
Oh, that's, yeah, it's a tough one, to be honest. You look at Bentleigh, who stood out for them so far. For me, probably Tyson Holmes been working hard both ways. Webster and Marco have been solid at the back, and then including the left back, Alexander. So
here's Ruben Way, and again Webster puts his body in the road and deflects it out for a corner.
And then if you look at Heidelberg at the moment, the most influential player on the pitch is Wilkins. He's giving him run going forward from the back line. He's taking his set pieces. He's had probably the 2 best half chances for him. Shawnee Ellis started off well, but this has gone quiet. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Wouldn't be wanting to...
Ellis, and the referee's whistling. Ball went beyond the byline. It swung back into play, so Again,
Okay, we're not picking it.
well, yes, it's up to the referees. Maybe Steve can pick it. You guys are one-sided comments. Which side? Who have we been...
Have we?
I'm intrigued by that one. Steve, let us know. Happy to hear the feedback. Keep your comments coming. Let's hear from some of the commenters on who should win the Jimmy Mackay medal tonight. Danny says Ryan Scott for best on grad. Has he made a really big save of note, though?
Not really, no.
I think, you know what, I reckon the man on the ball just there, Jacob Alexander, could be half a chance.
That's what I said. I thought he'd been good for Bentleigh.
I think Webster or Yankovic, you're right, though. Pretty much anyone in the back four could win it tonight if they keep the clean sheet. If they score a second, though, that might mix things up. Kelly trying to drive it forward. Didn't want to go on his left, and he's missed Taylor with the pass there. Dean Muneer, FFE Radio Zone, says Tyson Holmes.
He's worked hard both ways. He's playing as a 10. You'd expect him a bit more from him further up the pitch. Like I said, for me, it's a very tough one. Look, I think Josh Wilkins, so far, he's been good for Heidelberg. He's crowding a lot for him now.
Man about the NPL, Marinos Panay, says Johnny Bentleigh for the Mackay medal. Well, I guess when you're putting together the squad in the off-season and in the transfer window, there's no one more important than Johnny Ionu. Here's Noon into the box and cleared away. Of course, he's here in his hoodie tonight. And now Gage out to Holmes. Bentleigh sensing the opportunity to try and force the issue here, but that pass is hit long, and as long as it remains 1-0, as you've said throughout the course of the night, Nick, we can't give up on Heidelberg producing the late show as they have so many times before.
Well, they'll definitely throw numbers forward, caution in the wind. They've got 10 minutes to go now. I don't think there's that much extra time either, to be fair. That's one thing Heidelberg can't do. Any balls like that long, they need to have someone competing.
Taylor, a neat shimmy, and finds Alexander. The cross is straight into the breadbasket of Theodoridis.
That's some kick there, releasing Attila.
Way down the left it goes. Attila Offley, the fresh legs off the bench. You can see him motoring away, but Exidius is guarding him closely. And now Biles follows up. Offley goes again. Twisting and turning. Biles wiped out by Exidius, and the foul given.
Here we go. This is going to be interesting.
A few protests, but I think even from our vantage point here, that looked like a pretty clear foul.
Look, it was late, but he didn't get him. I think Biles knew what he was doing there. Yeah, never got him. He released the ball early enough. Just smart there by the captain.
Cartanos and Wilkins over the free kick. Sophie says Blake Thompson for being solid as a rock. So we've got a real mix of opinions on the Mackay medal. We wait here for Heidelberg over yet another dead ball. They've had corners, they've had free kicks aplenty. They just haven't been able to stick one of them in the net. And this one again is straight onto a Bentleigh head.
There's Marco again. He's won a few important headers tonight. Offside.
Dumbalis. Aerial challenge. Cartanos. Ruben Way. It's Ruben Way. It's
Stephen
fallen to
Pace.
Stephen Pace. Taken out. And good goalkeeping from Scott to dive on the ball. And now it's on for young and old. And we were warned pre-game that these two teams do not like each other. And it has boiled over here after Ryan Scott copped one in the schnoz after going down to claim the ball.
We said it earlier in the night. Again, Shawnee Ellis has every right to go for it. I don't think he's done anything malicious. But there's no need for anyone to get involved and do any of that. The push and shove doesn't need it. Marco started that.
Not the replay.
Oh, he's done nothing. Look, Shawnee Ellis has pulled out, to be fair, but then he's grabbed him, and Shawnee Ellis hasn't even really done much, to be fair.
And
then Bilesy.
Once it goes into the net, people get tangled and they're all pushing and shoving. And, well, George Katsakis has already been sent to the terraces behind us. But this is happening down at Bentleigh's bench end of the field.
Look, to be fair, there's got to be a couple of cards now. Like I said, we don't want Adam to let this one go.
It's a big conference here between Nicholas Pantelidis and Isaac Trevis, his assistant referees.
At best, I see a couple of yellows, nothing more than that. Shawnee Ellis had every right to go for that ball. The ball wasn't in Scotty's hands. Again, we apologise for what people are saying on the outside. But to be honest, I think he's reffed well. He's let a few things go. He hasn't booked everyone.
To this point of the night, he hasn't booked anyone. And you flagged a minute ago that there wasn't going to be too much stoppage. Well, now there will be. As the discussion continues, you can see Biles has had his shirt absolutely shredded.
Yeah, Biles and Blakey Thompson went at it together. They weren't even in the melee, to be honest. They just had their own one. So there must be some
squared half away from the action.
But again, there was nothing. There's only pulling jumpers and things like that. But again, you protect your own. I get that. But there's ways you can do it. Scotty could have stayed down, got some treatment, slowed the game down a little bit. Marco gets everyone revved up.
What's the outcome here? We've got a debate going on between the referees and various players who've wandered in.
Surely not. He's not going to be sending anyone off. I don't think anything was thrown. We've got the...
They'll be poring over the footage, that's for sure, after the game. But right now there's a cup final to be won. And Bentleigh are holding a 1-0 lead as time ticks off the clock. Ellis has been red carded.
Wow.
So that's a
hammer blow. Sent off.
A hammer blow for Heidelberg because he'll be out for some league games as well.
It's a straight red. That's 2 games.
What happens next? Is that the only?
Yeah,
oh, it's a red card
for
Yankovic for instigating the melee, I suspect.
I think Dimi Hadjimuradis was about to come on. I think Johnny's going to change that. He's going to probably bring on Charlie Fry instead.
So a red card in the 85th minute for Sean Ellis, and then one in the 86th minute for Ellis, 87th minute for Yankovic.
Well, is that for them starting the melee? Like, Shawnee Ellis, I don't think he's done anything wrong.
You don't think it was a red card challenge on Scott? No.
No, the ball was sort of, I don't know, look, I guess we can, if we get to see the replay again, I don't know if we're lucky enough to see that, but...
It's also huge responsibility for the fourth official to calculate. So
well, the ball was bobbling around, and Shawnee Ellis hasn't really done anything malicious other than trying to go for the ball.
Do you reckon Yankovic might have even landed a punch on Ellis there? Or
no, not really.
He's just
grabbed
for
his
starting
jumper.
the melee. Yeah.
He's just grabbed his jumper. You know what? If that's the way Adam saw it, and obviously his officials have also helped him out, then so be it. They started a melee that didn't need to happen.
Can we put a line through Yankovic winning the Mackay medal?
Well, now you can, yeah, and Shawnee Ellis, who started off well, but yeah, again, it shouldn't have gotten to that. So it'll be an interesting one to find out why he was sent off, though.
Audience has exploded. Not too many comments coming in. Safe to say that it has divided opinion here in the crowd, though. Both teams down to 10. And now we'll be guessing as to how much additional time there will be. Bentleigh, their thoughts will turn to locking down a 1-0 lead that they've held since the 12th minute of the night. James says VAR. Well, Vidnet Productions are one of the companies that probably could provide it for us, to be honest. If they'd asked. Might have cost a pretty penny, though. I don't know if the referees department has the money for VAR.
I don't think they could afford VAR, but then they probably wouldn't have the monitor on the ground for him to go and look at.
So, substitution is coming here for the Bentleigh Greens, and it is still Dimi Hadjimuradis who's coming on, and he's going to be replacing Brodie Taylor, whose cross was turned in for what it is right now, the goal that will win Bentleigh Greens the Dockerty Cup. And Brodie Taylor's put in a good shift.
Yeah, he's had a great night. First probably cup final for him in Victoria. It looks like Blake Thompson will slot in at centre half, Tyson Holmes and Ethan Gage will come in as a 6 and 8, and then James Kelly will just play in front of him and leave Lucas on his own up top and Dim in behind. So
that's all 3 subs for Bentleigh, but if they do concede an equaliser, they will be allowed to make a 4th change in extra time. But that is contingent on a Heidelberg equaliser, and right now we have 1 minute of regulation to go. Wait.
You'd think there'd be about 6 minutes, Teo, after that melee?
We'll be the first to find out because the board is being flipped right in front of us as we speak. Get a close-up look right there. Heidelberg going on the attack. They've got a long throw. They've still got weapons over a dead ball, which has been their main avenue so far tonight.
Yeah, 6 minutes.
There's the board. We've had breaking news non-stop here tonight. Ball out to the flank. Dumbalis, Kartanos, still Kartanos. He's ironed out. Kelly was able to do it legally according to the referee. And the Heidelberg fans are howling behind us, but the decision was not forthcoming. Seconds of the 90 to go, and the players and fans alike will find out that there is still 6 additional minutes to go in this game. Time enough for Heidelberg. It's 10 versus 10. Hatzimaratis involved. And now Lucas, the subs linking up. And here's the pass for the knockout punch. Exilius has won the Dockerty Cup for the Bentleigh Greens. The young fullback makes it 2-0. And Bentleigh will hoist the cup for the second time in 3 years. They've exacted their revenge for last year's defeat.
Great finish there by young James. Tell you what, it was a great break, but Lucas done extremely well to see James coming in the far post, and the youngster, the poise to finish it off as well was fantastic in the bottom corner. Great work rate by the youngster coming back from right back, and mate, he's deserved it. He's actually had a good game as well.
Well, you wonder, could that tip the balance? The assist for Lucas and the goal for Exilius. And now Heidelberg. The 6 minutes won't mean much unless they pretty much score right here from kickoff. They could. Wilkins puts it into the box and it's headed away by Thompson.
Good position there by Blake Thompson. Johnny A again. Some smart substitutions at the right time. But we talked about it. Players coming off the bench are going to be important tonight. And again, the 3 guys that have come on for Bentleigh linking up there. And eventually James getting on the end of it. So, great finish.
Ryan Scott back underway. Crashing through. Ruben Way. And now Harry Noon. Wilkins. Can he give them hope? Harry Noon. Kartanos. Still on the run, Kartanos, but being forced away from goal. Bentleigh defending sturdily.
Extremely well. Look, and we're looking at it before. The break all started from a free kick that wasn't given to Heidelberg on the edge of the box. Bentleigh took it forward extremely well. Had some composure, picked the right passes and ended up scoring. Again, at first glance, we both looked at each other thinking could have been a free kick, but again, Bentleigh did well to break and didn't let that slow them down.
Well, it was their other sub. It was Kelly that won the ball. So all 3 involved, and Kelly now trying to put himself in the headlines, but that shot was wide, and there's John Anastasiadis prowling the touchline. He just wants this remaining 3 minutes to expire. These two have got quite the rivalry. And Bentleigh right now holding a 2-0 lead deep into stoppage time.
That's our 3rd red card tonight. Didn't look like a red card game, did it, Teo?
Well, we haven't had a yellow. We've had 2 reds.
Oh,
back pass.
Slipping there.
It's going to find its way back to Theodoridis. He was the hero last year. He hasn't had really a say in any of it tonight. Holmes. Bentleigh just wanted down their end, somewhere safe. Hear the shouts of squeeze them in coming through the microphone, and Kelly commits a foul down in the corner. 2.5 minutes of the allocated 6 to go. Hall. Kartanos. Able to evade challenges.
He's got to have a free kick there, surely. Yeah, he does.
Thompson, the man, eventually whistled.
Heidelberg got any subs left?
Yeah, they still have Harvey Reid or George Salakidis of their outfielders that they could have brought on.
As we say, we just walk past as we...
But they won't see the pitch tonight as the ball goes into the area and it's hooked behind for a corner. But even if they score now, Heidelberg, they need a minor miracle. They'd have to score, run it back and score from kickoff again.
It's not impossible, Teo.
It can be done, but this has to go pretty much to plan. And it's out for yet another corner, and these are all seconds off the clock.
Going to be a better delivery there, though. Give the big boys a chance to attack something.
Now high into the mixer. It's allowed to fall. Offley was there. Bit of shirt grabbing going on, but cleared away.
Oh, well done, Pacey.
And now driven long to
Clearly
Lucas.
onside there.
Flag stays down. It's Lucas for the full stop at the end of the night. He stumbles. He keeps it alive. It's blocked on the line. Hatzimaradis is denied.
Stephen paced extremely well. Won the first header. Recovered well. Well done, Pacey. Never gave it up.
Into the last minute we go, and Hatzimaradis, the man, of course, who had the penalty kick saved that could have won Bentleigh Greens back-to-back last year, wasn't able to get his own personal piece of revenge there, deep into stoppage time of this one. And as the ball works its way out,
The final minute.
seconds to go before Bentleigh Greens win the Dockerty Cup for the second time, and for the second time in 3 years. Exidius, the man whose goal made it 2-0. Now Wilkins.
Good ball.
It's going to find Kartanos here. He goes to ground. He springs back up, a deflection. It's alive for Offley.
Oh, well defended. What
And
was
it's
that?
turned over the bar. Crucial from Ethan Gage.
Ethan Gage, fantastic defending.
And the clean sheet stays intact.
We haven't mentioned him tonight, and he's been done his job as a 6 there. He's been a nuisance all night, breaking down the Heidelberg play, especially in the second half.
Stoppage time is up. One last corner for Heidelberg. One last header, and it's held by Ryan Scott. Game over. Bentleigh Greens are the Dockerty Cup champions for 2018. And they win it for the second time in 3 years. Coming out on top of this epic rivalry with Heidelberg United, victors 2-0. The early own goal from Stephen Pace gave them the upper hand. And then it was James Exidius in the last minute with the knockout punch. And it's celebrations for the Bentleigh Greens here at Jack Edwards Reserve. The Dockerty Cup will be theirs. And as we get the close-up look at Ryan Scott, well, it finished 10 versus 10. And Heidelberg United, for all the territory, for all the possession, for all the set pieces, ultimately couldn't find the back of the nets.
Oh, credit to Bentleigh Greens, mate. I thought they defended well, especially in the second half, in the last 10 minutes. They did extremely well, but again, what a performance by Bentleigh. It's a well-earned win tonight, but again, credit to Heidelberg. They gave it everything they had. They'll be very bitterly disappointed, but, you know, Chris Theodopoulos didn't really have much to do tonight either, if we look back at the chances. But, again, well done to Johnny A and the boys there. They've, again, rebuilt the team from the start of the year with the players they've lost, and it's not a bad way to enjoy that with the first big trophy on hand. So credit to them and well done. And again, well done to George Katzer and his team making another final.
So we'll bring you the trophy presentation live here on the FFE Facebook page and YouTube channel. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage tonight, but stay with us if you want to enjoy the post-match scenes. And let's not forget that we've also got the matter of the Jimmy Mackay medal to sort out here, because it's been a very close run thing. There's the opening goal. That was Stephen Pace's own goal after Brodie Taylor's cross was turned in from the right side. We see here Sean Ellis had this amazing chance not long after. That would have been quite the equaliser had he drawn them level. And Heidelberg weren't to know that the chances would just continue to go, and ultimately they weren't able to stick one in the back of the net. As we look at some of the highlights of the match. Great crowd here at Jack Edwards tonight. Many of them Burgers fans, though, so making their way out before the trophy presentation takes place. I'm sure the Bentleigh fans and the neutrals will stick around.
Interesting conversation in the middle of the ground there at the moment.
Yeah, the referee speaking to the FFV administrators about who's got the nod here. I think, you know, if they tuned into our discussion, we wouldn't have really pointed them in a very distinct direction, would we, Nick? I think that we're none the wiser as to who they're going to go with here.
Well, look, young James getting on the score sheet, had a good second half. Then you look at Ethan Gage, who's been solid for Bentleigh, but to be honest, Josh Wilkins, I thought, had a brilliant game for Heidelberg. He's probably...
Even though he got sent off, I'd probably give it to Yankovic.
Can he get it?
I guess not. I guess if the referee sends you off, it's going to be pretty difficult.
Well, And we're looking at the
red card incident for Ellis and then for Yankovic. So
no, the ball was bouncing. Look, for me, Teo, I see it on the replay, and I think, is he sent him off for that kick out?
Or for fighting with Yankovic.
Or for fighting with Yankovic. That's something that would be obviously explained all in due time.
And
but
there's the second goal, the shout for the free kick not given. Down the other end they go. Hatzimiratis holds it up, and Lucas with the vision to see Exidius, who made the run, and a composed finish as well. And a big moment for the Bentleigh Greens. And Hatzimiratis, well, he should have had his own personal redemption there and scored the third, but not to be. It didn't matter at the end of the night by that stage. Comments coming in. Nick saying he enjoyed the commentary. Alex, good win, lads. Brett, well done, go Greens. George says go Greens and a lot of green heart emojis. Ray says you can't win them all, Heidelberg. Peter says not our night. Sarah says yes, good assist, Chrissy. And plenty of happy Bentleigh Greens fans. Brett says Holmes running Burgers midfielders ragged. Danny says Exidius for best on ground. So, again, plenty of divided opinions on who should win the Jimmy Mackay medal.
And to be fair, everyone they've mentioned, they've all had a great night. So our viewers obviously understand the game, watch the game in full, and credit to them. So some good names there we've all picked out, but we'll wait and see what happens.
There was Stephen Pace. His own goal, of course, in the 12th minute. So we wait for the official trophy presentation to get underway, which we will bring you in full here. Thanks to VidNet Productions, tonight's broadcast, of course, and it's been very well received online. Goran saying, well played Greens. Alex says, go Greens. As does Harry, bravo Greens. And there it is, the trophy. 110 years old, the Dockerty Cup. Looking shiny and resplendent tonight, and it's got the green and white ribbons on it, signifying Bentleigh Greens' victory in tonight's game. There they are, the winning team. All smiles at the moment.
Well done to you guys again, Teo, as always. Great coverage, and it's fantastic that we can have these games live streamed for people to watch, especially everyone that tuned in from overseas. You had obviously Jack Webster's parents all the way from Leeds, and what a way to see their son lift the trophy here in the Dockerty Cup. So well done to the FFV for putting this on live stream.
Oh, thank you. We take great pride in these big games. All right, now time for the official presentation. Let's listen in.
First and foremost, let's give a big round of applause, a big cheer to both teams for what was an exciting 2018 Dockerty Cup final. With me this evening to present the medals and the Dockerty Cup, we've got FFV CEO Peter Philopoulos, Marilyn and Malcolm Mackay, and we've got Nicholas Tsaris from the FFV, and
Great
Jimmy
to hear
Campbell
Marilyn
from
and Malcolm
MITA.
Mackay here to present the Jimmy Mackay medal.
Now, I think it was a pretty tough task for the officials, but they did a cracking job, and we'd like to present first and foremost medals to the officials for their part in tonight's cup final. So if we could present medals to Adam Babkar, Michael Marinus, Isaac Trevor, and Nicholas Pantelidis.
So there is the officiating crew. There's going to be a lot said about the refereeing, but to be honest, I think other than maybe the red cards, I think they did a good job. And you know what? I think the red cards aren't the worst calls for starting a brawl like that. No,
look, if that's what Adam's given the red cards for, then that's fair enough. But we couldn't really make out too much wrong in the actual lead up to it. So if he has done that,
medal which goes to the player of the match, and this went to number 10 from the Bentleigh Greens, Tyson Holmes.
So there we go. Tyson Holmes gets the nod after all, and he wins the Jimmy Mackay medal for his role in central midfield. Thoughts on his performance, Nick?
Look, I thought he was important for him. We talked about his work rate, especially helping out his defensive half by dropping from a 10 into the midfield and helping him out. I thought he was great, and his work rate throughout the 90 minutes was phenomenal. And look, he also had a play in the build-up to the second goal as well. So
it is always full of entertainment. Unfortunately, each time there has to be a winner and a loser, but they both contributed tremendously well. So for the runners-up medals, we'd like to present to Heidelberg United. If you could make your way across to grab your medal.
So rather than listen to the roll call, some thoughts on where to from here for Heidelberg United. I'm mindful, Nick, that you are, of course, an opposition coach in their division, and you do have to play them again this season, I believe. So where to from here for this Heidelberg team? Obviously still in the box seat to win the Premier's place.
Oh, 100%. Look, and even on the performance tonight, you can see they've still got the firepower to be able to cause teams some havoc. And look, they've got two or three boys that are still out. They've had some long-term injuries as well, which hasn't helped. But look, they're a fantastic side. George has got them working extremely well. Very hard side to beat when they've got momentum, especially as well. So for me, look, they'll lick their wounds and obviously reassess and see where this game went wrong. But they've got to hold their heads up high. They played, 46 games last year. To get back into the Dockerty Cup, they obviously didn't have to play games this year to get into the FFA Cup round of 32. So for me, they've got a lot to play for. They've still got a lot of important trophies to be won, and I'm sure last year's championship is something they want to get back.
So they will remain very much ever-present contenders, Heidelberg, in this Victorian football landscape.
Now to the winners.
And now
Bentleigh Green.
The Bentleigh Greens are next.
Ryan Scott.
Goalkeeper Ryan Scott. Clean sheet, very hard-earned clean sheet tonight, but he didn't have to make too many direct saves. A lot of maintenance of the penalty area and defending free kicks and set pieces, though.
Look, he was put under pressure, and he stood up when he had to. He had that first important save, the double save he did on Tommy Cahill there. But again, he was also important when they broke forward in the second half. He created something from nothing, releasing Christopher Lucas on a break. Look, for Bentleigh now, this is important. They're still in the hunt to try and chase down Heidelberg.
They are, and well, they've got South Melbourne at Kingston Heath on Friday. South coming off a 5-1 win against Knights, and it never really ends, does it? Because they go from one rivalry and one sort of heated, spiteful opponent to another in the space of a few days. So
especially the way the league sits at the moment. Yeah, correct. You're exactly right. Look, South Melbourne came off a very strong win in the derby. They've got to back it up now with the Dockerty Cup champions away from home. So this will be a big test for South Melbourne, definitely. But look, Bentleigh have got a decent squad. They've got a couple of boys out themselves, and I'm sure they'll be up and about, ready to go.
So not far away from the moment that the Greens have been waiting for. Peter Philopoulos, the FFE CEO, giving out the winners' medals. And now they will hand over that trophy there, the Dockerty Cup, to the Bentleigh Greens. And so how are we lining it up here? We've got the coach, John Anastasiadis, of course. And Jack Webster as well. Gets his medal, of course, as the winning coach. But here we go. The anticipation builds. And there it is. The lid goes flying, but the Bentleigh Greens won't care. They are the Dockerty Cup champions for 2018. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And the Bentleigh Greens, once again, are the Cup champions of Victoria. Champagne flying, a lot of smiling faces. Nick Tolios, this ends our broadcast tonight. We'll leave people to watch the aftermath of the Greens celebration, but your final thoughts at the end of, again, thank you for joining me, what has been a sensational broadcast and coverage of this Cup final.
Oh, thanks for having me, Teo. And look, congratulations, Bentleigh Greens. And again, for me, it was a great final. First half was fantastic. It had everything, and then obviously a little bit sour near the end, but again, fantastic, well deserved by Bentleigh. They defended well to hold on to the league, and then obviously great counter-attack goal, but credit to them, and congratulations to them.
So there it is, the Bentleigh Greens with the Dockerty Cup trophy. Nick, always a pleasure to work with you. Hopefully we do this again at NPL finals time, unless Kingston win all their remaining games and make the finals. But I'm sure that battling relegation and well, the various challenges of that will preoccupy you between now and the end of the season.
No, that's definitely our priority at the moment, mate, trying to stay up, and hopefully our boys can do it, and it's not going to be easy to run home, but I'm confident we've got the teams that be able to stay up.
So that's it from Jack Edwards Reserve then. My name's Teo Pellizzeri. Big thanks to Vidnet Productions as well for their fantastic coverage of this match, and also Sean Ellicott and Dave Barker and John Power behind the cameras and the machines tonight. That's it from Jack Edwards Reserve. Bentleigh Greens are your Dockerty Cup champions for 2018. 2-0 the final score. Goodbye and good night.